Are they trying to provoke a nuclear war with Russia? Michael Snyder reports. Even though most Americans aren't paying much attention at this point, the way that the war in Ukraine is evolving should greatly concern all of us. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and his generals very clearly understand that they are in very big trouble unless they can draw the US and other NATO powers directly into the conflict. All of the Bakhmut is now under Russian control, and Ukrainians continue to lose troops at a staggering pace, and they're holding a losing hand. But if Ukrainian leaders can find a way to get the Russians to use tactical nukes or other weapons of mass destruction, that would change everything. Western powers will feel compelled to respond in kind, and then we really would have a truly apocalyptic conflict on our hands. In recent days, there has been a tremendous amount of hype about the coming counteroffensive that the Ukrainians have supposedly been planning. Kiev renewed its plea for operational silence along the long-awaited counteroffensive against Russian forces, with a clip of heavily armed soldiers pressing their fingers on their lips. The sleekly produced footage features massed frontline troops gesturing for silence amid the distant rumble of artillery and gunfire, and it ends with images of soaring F-16 fighter jets, long coveted by Kiev as it seeks to boost its air defense against Russian missiles and drones. But instead of trying to retake Bakhmut or any of the other areas of Ukraine that the Russians have captured, the Ukrainians have been focusing their attacks on Russia itself. Long-range drones have been hitting targets very deep inside Russia, and on one occasion that even included the Kremlin. And Ukrainian artillery has been relentlessly pounding Russian territory, the shelling particularly brutal in the Belgorod region. Ukrainian forces continue to shell Russia's border region of Belgorod overnight into Sunday, and hundreds were evacuated away from the border. General Vyacheslav Gladkov said. Overnight it was quite relentless, he said on Telegram channel, adding that the Shebekino and Volokonovsky districts has suffered losses and damages. Now, the shelling of civilian targets in Russian territory is going to do nothing to help the Ukrainians regain lost territory of Ukraine, but it's putting enormous pressure on Russian leaders. Just imagine how we would feel if U.S. territory was being shelled. We would be calling on the White House to nuke the living daylights out of whoever was shelling us. Well, that is exactly how millions upon millions of Russian citizens feel right now. And what makes things even worse is that small militia groups have begun crossing the Russian border to conduct attacks on nearby cities. New York Times wrote on Sunday that Shebekino, a town of 40,000 people 6 miles from the border, has effectively become a new part of the front line, as Ukraine has intensified attacks inside Russia, including on residential areas near its own borders. This is all upending the lives of residents in the border region, akin to what already happened long ago in the Ukrainian side of the border. The spate of assaults, most recently by militia groups aligned against Moscow, sparked the largest military evacuation effort in Russia in decades, the report underscored. And the past days, we witnessed area residents move into temporary shelters, including large Belgorod arena in the oblast capital. The militia groups are performing these raids, actually using equipment that has been provided by US and Poland. The Russian fighters aligned against Moscow, who launched a cross-border raid from Ukraine into Belgorod region of Russia last week, used at least 4 vehicles originally given to Ukraine by the United States and Poland, US officials said, raising questions about the unintended use of NATO-provided equipment and Kiev's commitments to secure material supplied by its supporters. 3 of the mine-resistant ambush-protected vehicles, also known as MRAPs, taken into Russia by the fighters were provided by the United States, and the 4th was from Poland, according to the people familiar with the U.S. intelligence finding, which has not previously been reported, and those people spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss the sensitive issue. And it's being reported that Polish fighters are among those that have been going across the border during these raids. The Polish Volunteer Corps has published pictures confirming it participated in the first armed raid into the Belgorod region of Russia, together with the Russian Volunteer Corps. Russian soldiers claimed earlier they heard some of the enemies communicating in Polish, and this war has reached such a dangerous stage. The Russians are not stupid. They know that foreign fighters now make up a very significant percentage of the forces that they are facing. And if Russian cities continue to get shelled and raided, it's only a matter of time before Russian leaders lose their temper. If the Russians decide to use tactical nukes, it really will be the beginning of the end. So let's pray that the cooler heads will prevail. Meanwhile, things with China continue to get even more tense. On Saturday, the Chinese warship and the American warship almost slammed directly into one another in the Taiwan Strait. It's the astonishing moment a Chinese warship comes within 150 yards of an American destroyer in Taiwan Strait, just days after the Pentagon said it would not stand for bullying by Beijing. Footage obtained by Global News shows the People's Liberation Army Navy planned warship cut across the bow of a U.S. guided missile destroyer on Saturday while it was transiting the Taiwan Strait. The USS Changhoon and HMS Montreal had also been transiting the strait on a rare joint mission when a planned warship cut across the bow of Changhoon. We really are living during the days of wars and rumors of wars, but most of us in the West world are focusing on other things, even though our leaders have clearly demonstrated how incompetent they are over and over again. Most of us just assume they'll be able to keep us out of the nuclear war. Unfortunately, both sides continue to escalate matters, and it appears that it's just a matter of time before someone crosses a line that will never be able to be uncrossed. This is by Michael Snyder. He says about the author, my name is Michael, and my brand new book entitled End Times is now available on Amazon. In addition to my new book, I've written 6 other books that are available on Amazon, including 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters, Commissions Earned. When you purchase any of these books, you help to support the work that I'm doing, and one way that you can really help is by sending copies as gifts to family and friends. Time is short, and I need help getting these warnings into the hands of as many people as possible. I've also started a brand new Substack newsletter, and I encourage you to subscribe so that you won't miss any of my articles. I've published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and the Most Important News, and the articles that I publish on those sites are published on dozens of other prominent websites all over the globe. I always freely and happily allow others to republish my articles on their own websites, but I also ask that they include this about the author section with each article. The material contained in this article is for general information purposes only, and readers should consult licensed professionals before they make any legal, business, financial, or health decisions. I encourage you to follow me on social media, Facebook and Twitter, and any way that you can share these articles with others is definitely a great help. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, I strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. This is on the Economic Collapse blog by Michael Snyder. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.